As the first rays of the morning sun painted the Sonoran desert landscape of southern Arizona with hues of gold and amber, my home, Dalton Ranch, nestled in the heart of this arid beauty, came to life. The undulating terrain met sprawling cacti and desert shrubs, a testament to the untamed spirit of the American Southwest. Dressed in my well-worn jeans, a faded denim shirt, and a sun-bleached cowboy hat, Rye Dalton, was a true desert dweller, seamlessly blending into my rugged surroundings. This morning, my companion was Samson, a young roan horse with a striking white blaze on his forehead. The result of generations of selective breeding, he was destined to become a champion cutting horse. Together, we traversed the arid landscape, passing corralled horses and venturing into the hills. This ride was my cherished respite, a brief escape before my day as a counterterrorism analyst began. The tranquil beauty of the ranch, framed against a backdrop of distant mountains and the boundless expanse of the desert, created a captivating contrast to the world of strategic planning and covert operations that occupied my other hours. However, this morning's ride took an unexpected turn. As Samson and I approached a dry arroyo in a secluded corner of the ranch, his unease became palpable. His senses heightened, attuned to the subtle sounds of the desert, the distant call of a coyote, the whispering rustle of desert vegetation. But something was different. He seemed apprehensive, with his gaze fixated on an ominous presence to our left. Following his stare, I spotted a group of young men in a small clearing, partially concealed by the thick desert foliage. Approaching them, I called out in Spanish, "Hola, necesitan ayuda?" Hello, do you need help? The scent of wood smoke, a common aroma in the desert where campfires were a necessity, hung in the air. A man with a weathered face and cautious eyes responded in halting Spanish, his words carried away by the dry desert wind. He struggled to converse. His words seemed to be forced into a language in which he was not fluent. I detected the tension in their postures, mirroring the wariness of the desert's native creatures. Something was amiss. Then, in a moment that sent shivers down my spine, I heard fragments of conversation between the men in Pashto, a language more commonly associated with my counterterrorism work than the remote Sonoran desert. Mexican immigrants speaking Pashto was more than highly unusual, and the tension in this encounter held a distinct characteristic, unlike the familiar circumstances where my family had offered assistance to undocumented immigrants in the past. The air grew thick with apprehension as I continued to attempt to interact with the men in Spanish, making an effort to grasp their situation and evaluate the circumstances. My focus remained on their responses and nonverbal cues, as I aimed to glean additional details and build a connection with them. The desert, usually alive with the sounds of wildlife, seemed to hold its breath, enveloped in an eerie silence. The group members exchanged furtive glances, their unease evident. Time seemed to crawl as I evaluated the atmosphere, every instinct within me signaling that a perilous moment was drawing near. Samson, sensing the change in the tone, grew uneasy beneath me. His muscles coiled like tightly wound springs, ready to react. My grip on the reins tightened, my other hand instinctively moving toward the small of my back where I concealed a handgun. One of the men began to close the distance between us with deliberate intent, locking eyes with me. Sensing imminent danger, Samson reared up fiercely, his powerful hooves catching the man in the chest. I reacted swiftly, using the reins to strike the man, the leather snapping sharply in the desert stillness. With a swift pivot on his hind legs, Samson touched down and launched into a gallop, mirroring the speed and determination of a racehorse charging from the starting gate. In the blur of action, I leaned forward in the saddle, my legs clamping firmly around Samson's powerful frame. Understanding the gravity of the situation, the young horse responded with lightning agility, his hind legs propelling us forward into a full-throttle gallop. The resounding drumbeat of hooves against the parched desert floor resonated through the landscape, while the desert wind swirled around us, creating a vortex of dust and leaves in their wake. With every stride, Samson and I put more distance between ourselves and the unsettling encounter. It was a heart-pounding escape, a testament to our bond and Samson's innate agility and speed. Adrenaline surged through my veins as we rode, the desert's rugged beauty blurring past us, leaving the disoriented men and their enigmatic conversation far behind, swallowed by the Sonoran Desert's vast expanse. After creating a substantial gap, traversing